Sam, question for you. From the last time you were here, I think it was 2 years ago, that it was, give or take 2 years ago. At the time, it was probably a terrible season for Trump, I think we can say. Trump wasn't having a lot of victories. Trump was at a very low. Republicans were not convinced that he could go. Republicans were thinking it's probably going to be DeSantis or it's going to be somebody else. There was a bit of a split in the Republican Party and the MAGA. Like, I don't know. Even when he opened up his announcement that he's running at Mar-a-Lago, there was not a lot of people there. People saying, I don't even know, this person wasn't there, that person wasn't there, this person wasn't there. And then you get these CNN polls. Rob, if you can pull up the CNN video showing where the Democratic Party is at today, play this clip, and I want to ask you, Sam, what happened to the Democratic Party? Go for it.
Holy Toledo. Voters' views of the Democrats in Congress among all voters disapprove, 68%. And look at the approved number, just 21%, even lower than the Democratic Party at large. This is the lowest on record for Democrats, according to Quinnipiac University polling. You think these numbers are bad? Let's go to this side of the screen. We'll look how Democratic voters feel. Get this. The plurality of Democratic voters disapprove of Democrats in Congress at 49%, and just 40% approve. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Oh, my goodness gracious, you just can't get worse than these numbers.
And this is the number right here really driving all of this. If Democratic voters have turned on Democrats in Congress and the Democratic Party, that's what puts the numbers at historic lows. What is it they want to be seeing, these voters?
What is going on? I'll tell you what's going on. They don't like what's coming out of some of those Senate Democrats like Chuck Schumer, because take a look at the direction of the party. Democratic voters on Democrats in Congress doing too little to oppose Donald Trump. Look at this. 77% should stay principled, even if it means nothing gets done in Washington, D.C. 65%. And this 65% is such a difference from where we were in 2017 at this point, when just 33% of Democrats say this should stay principled, compared to 59% who said they want to compromise. Democrats do not want compromise at this point. They want a fighter. They want to go into the ring like Muhammad Ali did against Sonny Liston. Wow. They want to take down the Republicans. They do not want this compromise anymore. They want to be more like Republicans, can get up to that stage and fight. And right now they feel like their leaders in Congress are simply not doing so. And that is why their approval rating for congressional Democrats is at an all-time low, even among Democrats.
Rob, if you want to pause that. Sam, what happened? What happened to the Democratic Party?
Well, I should start by saying I always thought that Trump would be the nominee. And 2 years ago, I was wondering why Ron DeSantis was lighting his career on fire by trying to run against Donald Trump, to be honest with you. I think, Trump and the Republican Party, I think they're one and the same. And so that doesn't surprise me. Those numbers are some of the most encouraging numbers I've seen in the 20 some odd years I've been doing this, because I want to see it communicated to Democratic leadership that we want you to fight. And I've been riding Chuck Schumer for, 10 years, trying to get him. I mean, Harry Reid was a great, I think, as far as they go, leader of the Senate for Democrats. But I think it's time for new leadership in the Democratic Party. We need and this is not even ideological from my perspective. I think there are Democrats that I agree with and Democrats that I disagree with on an ideological standpoint. But I think a different generation of Democrats understand that the Republican Party is intransigent. There is no negotiating with them. I think the biggest mistake that Joe Biden made was following the American Rescue Act, which was a massive boon to the American public. We cut child poverty by 45% in a year. I just want to repeat that. We cut child poverty by 45% in a year because of that act when Biden first got in. And you know what Republicans were talking about after we passed bills that cut child poverty in a year, that extended unemployment benefits, that provided food stamps, that provided health insurance? Republicans were talking about 2 books that the Dr. Seuss publisher decided not to publish. And so in my mind, the Republican Party there is completely bankrupt of ideas, And Joe Biden, instead of pushing through Build Back Better over that summer, he opened the door for the Republicans to give a proposal. That went nowhere for 3 months. Then he opened the door for Kristen Sinema and Rob Portman to come in and give a proposal. And that ultimately, I think, is when Democratic voters started getting impatient with Biden, because we were thinking $5 trillion, $4 trillion. Joe Manchin was saying $6 trillion Build Back Better bill. And we never got anything like that. It ended up getting split into the IRA, which was a good bill, but I think insufficient. And then infrastructure stuff, also important, but insufficient. And so I think what you're seeing is frustration from Democratic voters who are saying, A, you're not fighting. B, you're allowing the Republicans too much opportunity. And C, we need more government intervention.
Do you think it's more that they're not fighting, or do you think that their policies are simply bad policies and they're not landing?
No, I think it's that they're not fighting. What are their policies?
So tell me what policies are, like right now, the Democratic Party. Who is the face of the Democratic Party, and what are the top 3 things you guys stand for?
Well, I don't think there is a face of the Democratic Party at the moment. I mean, Chuck Schumer is nominally the highest elected Democratic official that's out there.
That's not a good sign for you guys.
100%. I agree. I call for him to resign every day. I don't know that there is a single. I don't think the Democratic Party has coalesced around an agenda. We're having a. There's a fight within the Democratic Party.
Well, what do you like? Do you have someone you like that you would want to see, or do you want to see the capitalistic competitive philosophy of somebody just comes out and let's see who it is? Because if there is, even you right now, Sam,
capitalistic. I don't understand
what I mean by capitalistic, like competitive. Let's just see who comes out.
Competition,
of the competition
predates capitalism.
Yeah, so that's good. The competition is a
good
thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, obviously there's going to be a competition.
Is there anyone you like?
Well, I think there are policies that I like that are expressed by like Sanders and AOC on their tour, their anti-oligarchy tour. I mean, obviously, I think there are other, policies that are floating around that I don't know that they're necessarily embodied in politicians yet. People are looking. There's a lot of stuff that Tim Walz did in Minnesota that I think is great.
Putting the tampons in the bathroom, that was my favorite. Putting in the men's bathroom, that was probably one of the best ones. Putting that, because that's type of policy that I think that we need in the country.
No, hang on. Tell me what Walz did that you liked. Substantially, statistically, that Walz did.
I think things like lunches for kids, expanding educational opportunities.
Wait a minute, there weren't lunches for kids. There wasn't federal money from the Department of Education. Free lunches for kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else?
Well, no, let's go. I really want to hear it, because a lot of this was federal money that floated. I really want to know.
Other states reject expansion of Medicare and Medicaid. I should say Medicaid in Minnesota. He provided for
expansion to who specifically?
To through the ACA to people making 400% of poverty. He's got.
Wait a minute. Medicaid is designed, if I walk in with a broken leg to a public hospital, right, that Medicaid is there to take care of me if I'm destitute and unable to it. That's a good thing. And that's exactly the things that California did, and it was already there. What was expanded? What was expanded about that in Minnesota? You're expanding the pool of people who can access Medicaid on a state-by-state basis. There's still, I don't know, half a dozen states, Republican states, that don't allow that expansion of Medicaid. Okay, so
you're not aware of that?
So I'm absolutely aware of it. But what I want to ask you is, when you expand the Medicaid, it is a fact that basically you close the public hospitals. And so what you're talking about, the things he did
That's not true.
Oh, yeah? Ask Gavin Newsom. Ask him what happened to King Drew in Los Angeles. This is well documented. I'm stunned.
You can do a choice if you want to close a public. I mean, Andrew Cuomo closed a lot of public hospitals in New York State. That's not a function of Medicaid payments.
You want to go take a look at California and King Drew and what happened? Gavin Newsom himself talked about it.
I'm not a fan of Gavin Newsom, but you're asking me about Waltz. And
no, we didn't ask about Waltz. You were talking about, you said you like some of the things
he
Waltz
asked
was
me
doing.
what I like about Tim Waltz.
No, you said you
and
like...
I wanted one of the specifics of the things that he did.
Right. Okay, so, but continue with the following, Sam, if you don't mind, because this is what I'm trying to find out.
Yeah.
So one, the Republican Party, like you said, I knew 2 years ago that Trump would be a DeSantis, all this other stuff.
Right.
We were on the same page. I thought it was going to be him. But a lot of Republicans were a little bit still staying safe and hesitant of whether they were going to go all in or not the first time you and I spoke. But today, when I said, who do you like, what policies, you said, I like what AOC is doing. You said Sanders, anti-oligarchy, all that stuff, right?
I have a different, I think, way of looking at politics maybe than you do. It's not for me, like, if a candidate emerges who embraces a wider set of my preferred policies, that's the one I'll support. I don't really get too involved in the individual, frankly. I mean, Joe Biden was not my favorite candidate by a long shot in 2020. The fact that there were coalitions built out of Warren and Sanders supporters that ended up bringing us a much better set of labor policies than we've seen in my lifetime from my perspective. With the National Labor Relations Board, with just the appointments of people like Abruzzo as the general counsel there, the extension of unions' ability to unionize and helping working people in that way, and then the antitrust regime that was largely a function of the Warrenites putting in their people to undermine big concentration of money and power. Those are big positives. So, do I like Joe Biden? No. But I also know that if there are the right coalitions formed that have influence within the context of an administration, that's good from my perspective.
Got it. But to me, like running a business or politics, right, or it shifts when people all of a sudden look at you and they say, I don't like these ideas anymore. So in the Democratic Party, you have a lot of different people that would have different policies. Hey, I think we should do this, and I think we should do that. Great. Obviously didn't land November 5th, 2024, whether it was Kamala Harris, whether it was the policies, whether it's 7 states you lose, battleground states you lose, whether it's the majority. It was a bad loss. It was a humiliating loss. One could say it was Kamala, one could say it was Obama, one could say it was Biden stepping, one could say it's Schumer, one could say it's Pelosi. Let's set that part aside. To me, the most basic part is ideas. If someone has ideas that's producing results that people like, they want to continue that, right? And we watched, like if I ask a Democrat, even right now, Ben, I ask you for 15 minutes, I still don't know if Democrats know what they're for. Like,
well,
what
I'm not, I'm not
for?
Speaking for the Democratic Party. I can tell you what I'm for.
Tell me what you're for.
Oh, I am for universal health care, single payer health care.
Yep.
I am for increased ability to unionize. I am for decommodifying parts of the housing sector. I am for decommodifying power. I am for decommodifying access to the internet. Those are my big ones right there.
Who in your party is for that?
Well, who in the Democratic Party is for that? I don't know that there's anybody who in our party who embraces all of those. I mean, that is a major political figure. I mean, I think I'm to the left of the Democratic Party, but I think there are elements of what I want that are represented by people in the Democratic Party. I think having a very jaundiced eye to the overwhelming concentration of wealth and wealth disparity, I think is a fundamental problem that we have in this country. I think too much of what happens in this country is a function of the concentration of wealth. I mean, that gets back to why I want a to return back to the tax regime we had in the 50s and the 60s, where the top marginal rate was 90% for every dollar above what today's money would be about $4 million. So, and just to explain this, because I've seen so many people on the right not understand marginal tax rates that it's almost disturbing. The first $1 million that you earn is taxed at 32%, or whatever the prevailing rate is. The second $1 million you earn, 32%. The third, 32%, because I think that's the highest. Maybe it's 37% is the highest. Once you get over $4 million, every extra dollar after that is taxed at a 90% rate.
That's what you want.
That is what we had in this country for several decades in the post-World War.
Why do you think that's good, though? Because we talked about this. Why do you think that's good?
I'll tell you. Because it flattens wealth disparity.
Okay.
And that is when you have the greatest expansion of the economy.
Right.
When the wealth of the country is shared by as many people as possible. Right. Obviously, it's not everybody gets the same amount, but...
Do you think that's a popular idea? Do you think 80% of Americans want that? Americans want that?
I think if I was to show Americans... You've been
showing for 20 years.
No. Yeah, put up a graph of income disparity.
Right.
You put up a graph of income disparity, Americans are shocked when they realize how much money is held by the top 1% in this country. Really, the top 0.01% relative to the rest. I mean, like literally a handful of families have more money and more wealth in this country than 50% of the population.
There's so many questions to that. For me, the question is the following. Here's where I'm trying to go with a guy like you.
You show that to 80% of Americans, and there's no questions. You're going to be like, what the fuck?
You know what?
I don't know if I
you know
can
what
swear
else you
on
can
it.
show? You can't because you're a guest. But you know what else? You can. CAN.
Okay,
you can. You can. You're a guest. So if somebody could go and say, okay, why don't you pull up who pays the most taxes in America? The top 1% pays 50% of taxes in America. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you can give that argument. So to me, if we go back and forth, but this is the part I want to do with this specific argument, this specific idea, where I want to go with a guy like you, okay, is I think sometimes like the Democratic Party, you go to a message and you know how Trump tests things out. Yeah, Greenland. It's Greenland. Greenland. Yeah, Greenland. It's going to be so one way or another. We're not going to go to war, but one. Yeah, you know, a third term. I'm not talking about third term, but a lot of people are talking about third term. Yeah, Canada should just be a 51st state. Governor Trudeau. Trump will throw these things out there, okay, and then the market reacts to it, and the market will say, "What is he talking about?" And then I believe. This is how I do it as a business owner. I'll be in front of. I'll never forget. One time I brought 9 of my guys and I dropped an idea on them. You should have seen the reaction on everybody. You know what the reaction was? They looked at me like I was high. They looked at me like I am on shrooms. They're like, "What the?" Pat, respectfully, these are terrible ideas. So you know what happens to a business owner? They're so used to coming up with bad ideas. What do? They move on with bad ideas. So to me, Trump gets up there and says, "What do you think about this?" And then he looks. He says, okay, what's the guy that I respect? Okay, this guy's pretty reasonable. What did he say? What did she say? Okay, let's move on. To the Democratic side, somebody like you.
But let
me just finish the point. I'll come to you. Trust me, I want to hear from you. To me, I feel like the Democrats, like you, okay, you have a voice. People watch you. You're an influencer in your community. And you actually have the ability to kind of go and help your community out, help your party out. There are certain policies that you keep pitching that is no longer popular, that's been exposed so many times, because what we learned, like the biggest part why some of the conservatives like the Doge concept and some of the Democrats that like the Doge concept is it's government wasted expenditure. Obama talked about it. Clinton's talked about it. People on the left, they've talked about it for many, many years. And the average person watches this and says, okay, so after $4 million, you want to put the tax rate at 90%? Yes, I do. Okay, so all you're saying is that the government knows how to use my money better than free enterprise? I don't believe that.
Well,
so that's where the argument stops.
That's not the premise of why I want to do that taxation. I mean, the government will redistribute the money. And
that's no longer a popular idea in America.
I
That's the part where you see the young
listen,
Turks kind of growing and evolving and seeing some of the ideas that kind of is not popular.
I listen. The fact of the matter is, government always redistributes money. It always redistributes money. Every government at every moment is redistributing money. The question is, which direction is that money flowing? That's it. There is no doubt. Governments redistribute money at every moment. The question is, which direction
are they
is
at it?
What?
How successful have they been at it? How good are they at it? How much waste have they done with redistributing money?
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind. Like, look, we have a massive, massive military budget. And if you want to look for waste and fraud in government, that is where you go. That's where all the money is. Everybody knows it. There's an enormous amount of waste and fraud. They can't even get through an audit. How many audits has it been? Half a dozen? Social
7.
Security,
Yeah, Pentagon.
and they can't pass a single
I
audit.
agree.
Social Security is audited all the time. Do you know how much money? Let's talk about this for a second. I watched the video of you guys on the plane down of when Elon Musk was in Wisconsin blowing up his whole brand, essentially. And he was on stage with a guy named Garcia. Do you guys remember this video?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It was like 2 days ago.
Yes. The Social Security numbers spiking in the last 4 years.
The Social Security numbers.
2.2 million
yes.
new non-citizen Social Security numbers. Yes.
And the amount of misinformation from every single person, all of you, was astonishing to me.
What was it? What was the misinformation?
I
that was
mean,
said?
well, I almost feel like we should go through the whole video.
This is coming
But
from a
here it is.
socialist.
No,
You
no,
know
no.
the
No,
level
wait,
of
wait.
credibility you have as a
Listen,
socialist?
okay, listen,
A
progressive.
system
Let me
that has
progressive.
never
Let me
worked.
listen to
But I
you.
want to hear
that,
it.
that,
But I
that,
wanna
that is
hear you.
anti-oligarch.
Okay.
But I want to hear it. I want to hear
We
it. I
wanna
want to
hear
hear
this.
it. Go for it.
First off,
Yeah.
you seem to not understand that these were not undocumented immigrants who were getting these Social Security numbers. They are non-citizens. Now, when you came to this country,
Yeah.
you were an immigrant. Your parents came legally.
Right.
Every single one of those people who got those Social Security numbers are here legally. They're not citizens, just like you weren't when you first came to this country.
Yeah.
You get a green card. Your parents get a green card. They go through a process.
Yeah.
All of those people, and to understand, they got their Social Security
see your point
card.
here. I really want to see your point.
Well,
here.
the point is, you referred to them as undocumented and illegal.
No,
you
no,
did.
I said non-citizen.
No, excuse me.
Don't say
Go-
everyone here.
go-
I said
okay.
non-citizen.
I
Correct yourself.
can't remember which one of you got it wrong. I
Yeah.
think you did.
Just be
right?
specific.
You're thinking, but I
We
don't-
can play the video and go through it, but
I'm still trying to get to the
I
point.
just
What's
want to
the
make.
point?
Well, the point is, they're not illegal.
Yeah.
They're not undocumented. They're all legal.
Right.
The expansion from that program, the EBE program, which is enumeration beyond entry, was started under the Trump administration. The numbers have gone up because, yes, under Biden, as opposed to Trump, there was an expansion of people who were here, probably, I'm not sure.
A lot of illegals.
No, excuse me.
10 plus million.
Not a single one of them.
Breaking
not
number
a
of
single.
people
Hold on, you're
came
changing
in.
the subject now.
No, I'm not changing
I'm
the
talking about
subject.
that video.
Yeah.
And every one of those Social Security numbers
Let me
that
ask
was
you a
handed
question.
out.
So
Well,
how
let
do
me
you feel
finish.
about? We want 1 million people to support the Future Looks Bright gear. We are getting very close to it. We got something unique that came in. Just so you guys know, I only wear the Valuetainment wallet. This is all I have. I think the Adam's the same as well. But we got these new wallets, okay, that are RFID protected wallets to have with different Future Looks Bright signs on it. Rob, if you can go through, we got the red one, we got the black one. If you can go to the neck, all the colors so they can see it, beige, blue, gray, brown, you name it. We have it here. Anybody that places an order with these RFID wallets, you're going to get a leather keychain added to it with the Valuetainment logo design on it. Again, you sport the brand. You follow what we do. If you believe like we do that the future looks bright, go sport the gear. These will not last a long time. Just like the leather backpack didn't on Tuesday, that thing went in no time. Go place your order. Carry your wallet with this RFID wallet protector. Future looks bright. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.